Okay, you're good.
Hey guys, I'm Lacey. Welcome to Power Hour with Wise, and I'm here with Kori today. I'm like as if you're to the left of me here.
Give me a high five.
And we're talking about SEO today. So right before we jump into that, I just want to remind y'all that if one-on-one business coaching is anything you're interested in, or if you're starting a business, or you're here for 10, 20, 30 million years, Wise has everything you need from classes to one-on-one, and it's all free to you thanks to generous grants and donations. So Miss Kori, my Georgia's coming out. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Kori Ashton. I am located in San Antonio, Texas, and I have been a digital marketing nerd for over 2 decades. This is all I do all day long. I specialize in WordPress websites. I specialize in search engine optimization, which is our hot topic of the day. And I also have been really nerding out over the last 2 years on user experience and overall conversion strategy. Basically, how do we get somebody to do what we need them to do on our website? So I've been studying and teaching and sharing around the nation for several years, all on search engine optimization and conversion. So I'm excited to join you today. Thank you again for the invitation.
Oh my God, no problem. I'm so excited to have you because everything you just said is the bane of my existence. Can't stand it. My WordPress website drives me nuts. And I know what SEO stands for.
Sure.
Search engine optimization. But beyond that, it seems to be this ever elusive thing that we're constantly looking for.
Absolutely. It's that ever moving finish line. You just never know. And everybody acts like it's so easy that the moment you have this magic secret pixie dust sprinkled all over your website called SEOing and this magic sauce that we're, magically going to turn on a faucet of leads. That's wonderfully misinformed. So it actually takes quite a bit to get found on Google and to be successfully maintaining that coveted page 1 rank in the search engine results. So yeah, we can deep dive into it. And I think today, even thinking about what you just shared, that the extent of your knowledge might be a little bit beyond just knowing what SEO stands for, right? Search engine optimization. If we only know how to spell it, hey, you're one step further than the next person. If we are trying to figure out, maybe you've attended a few workshops and you say to yourself, yeah, I know the nuts and bolts of it. I get the concept of it, but I'm still not seeing the results from what I think that I've done on my website. Maybe we can address some of those things today.
Awesome. So it sounds like we are definitely open to questions or situations from I've done this and I've tried this and I have no idea what the heck I'm doing wrong.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would love to have any of those questions kind of shotgun blasted at me. We can walk through those things, but I can point us in a direction initially. I can walk us toward the only 2 ways to get found on Google. And for the sake of time today and brevity, I would say that, we should stay focused on Google. There are obviously other search engines out there. A lot of them, though, do align to kind of this beast in the industry, which is Google. They still are the Simon Says, the mother may I moment. It's still Google that we use as that North Star in guiding us in our marketing strategies, specifically for search engine optimization. So there's only 2 ways to get found on Google.
Tell me.
You either pay for it, right? You open up your wallet and you figure out a paid budget, or you build your website in such a way that Google, in a sense, rewards you with that page 1 rank and rewards you with that search engine positioning, right? So we've got to figure that out. Either we have sweat equity in the organic way of being presented to Google, which is that building your website in such a way, or we open up our wallet and we just have this never-ending, bleeding, hemorrhaging budget of, whoever's going to click, and hopefully, once they click, that $3 I just spent for that click actually lands in a cell, right? So that's the struggle. That's the game that we have to play. I would say also that is a part of your marketing strategy. I've had clients come to me and say, Kori, I don't care if I ever get found in an organic search. I don't care, because all I need my website to do is be legitimate, because I am a guerrilla marketer. I am boots on the ground. I'm knocking on doors. I've got door hangers. I've got traditional marketing. I'm on podcasts. I'm doing all this extra sweat equity externally that I'm putting it out there. People are going to hear about my brand or my offering. They're going to come to my website because they've heard of my .com. I don't care if I ever rank. Okay, that is absolutely a marketing strategy. Brilliant. Again, that sweat equity and all this traditional marketing, what we call off-site efforts, push traffic to your website. But what we're looking at today is the other 90% of us who are like, that's not my gig. No, I need traffic. I depend on traffic. I need to outrank my competition. I don't have marketing dollars or a big marketing team around me to go out there and be boots on the ground. So my company, my restaurant, my service, my product depends on fresh eyes finding me in these Google search results. I need to outrank my competition locally. I need to be found on the Google map. I need to be found for multiple different terms. And I don't even know what those terms may be, but I know that my competitors continue to outrank me and I need to be there. How do I get into that page one, that coveted page one? There are a lot of businesses out there that will say to you, oh, I'll get you there. Just pay me X amount of dollars per month and I will, work behind a thick wall. You'll never know what we're up to, but we're doing SEO for you. And do you ever see the results? I mean, it's always that accountability issue. So what I'm hoping to get out of today's session is one of two things. I'd love to give y'all some aha moments of saying, oh, I've missed that opportunity on my website. Maybe I can go make that little pivot, that little tweak today. The other thing I could do though for you is give you some knowledge to hold your team accountable or hold your vendors accountable for you to basically call BS on them saying, we're doing SEO for you. And you can say, seriously, I've been watching inside of Google Analytics and I know for a fact that there is no increase in traffic this month. And whatever your efforts are, they're too minimal. Is that resonating?
Yeah, I love when people use the term SEO as a verb. I'm like, I don't think you're using it the right way.
Totally. I have clients, hey, do SEO this month. On it. I don't know what that means. I feel like I should have like this jar of dust and just sprinkle it, right? I wish there was that fix, y'all. I wish there was something that we could just instantly push a button and say, okay, on that website, SEO on. Thankfully, inside of the world of WordPress specifically, there are resources that help us. There are free resources, that's always in the budget, that help us improve our SEO standards on our website. One of those such resources is called Yoast. It's like the word toast, but with a Y. It's a free SEO plugin, and you can search around and find one that you love. But there are tools out there that will help us be accountable to how we write and how we build our website. That will hopefully move that needle for us. But for the most part, I've got to burst a bubble of thinking that it's something easy that we do one time and it should be the ultimate fix, right? Unfortunately, the news today is that it's an ongoing effort. Your website is like a car. We need to put gas in that car to get somewhere, y'all. That gas is SEO. It's optimizing your site consistently to, in a sense, provide Google the attributes that they need to understand who we are and what we do and what we offer. So I'm going to give you some examples today. I am the type of learner that needs to see it. I can sit here all day long and hear somebody gab, and about 2 minutes in, my brain goes out and I'm looking for squirrels out my window. So I don't want to do that to y'all. I want to show y'all some examples today and hopefully, again, have those aha moments of saying, okay, now I'm getting it. Now I'm understanding. So I want you to think about this for a minute. All Google is, serious, all they are, as much as they want to be human, and maybe someday it will be so robotic that it is insanely close to being human. But right now, all that Google is a bunch of bots crawling websites and trying to find patterns. That's why keywords exist. Back in the day, a million years ago, when I started down this rabbit hole of digital marketing, y'all, anybody who's over 40, here on the call might remember this struggle of first getting online. You did a search on some search engine out there. Let's use an example of maybe organic children's toys. You know, if that was a thing, I don't know, 20 years ago. We do a search for that and we find some options that appear. Ooh, this is great. And you go to click on one of the search results and it's a porn site. And you're like, oh my God, back button, back button. I hope nobody's seeing this. I'm not surfing for that. Okay, that moment of Google thinking or a search engine thinking that a website is one thing, but in fact, it was something else, caused Google to no longer trust people at their word whenever we as developers type in meta tags and say what this website is. You know, we used to have paragraphs behind the scenes buried in the code of what this website is. This is organic kids toys. This is children's toys. This is best Christmas toys for your child. All of these fluff and stuff keywords. The problem was the system was too easy to game. And so Google said, I'm not going to trust that anymore. Y'all are rotten. Cut that out. They said, let's do it in an honest way. So now they're looking at a couple of things. Again, for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to look at that organic route, right? For those of you who have a budget, holla, you can pay those dollars all you want. For those of us who say, I got to do this sweat equity, Kori, help me at least go cross some T's and dot some I's on my website and get it to function a little bit better. That's what we're going to look at today. So how do we do that route together? What are the things that Google is looking for on our website today to get us to that page one? I had a client one time tell me, I hate Google because Google hates me. Oh, and like seriously had this bane, this heartache, angst at Google because his website would never rank. So I went and looked at his website and it was basically about a 2 to 3 page website that hardly had any language on it, any text on it whatsoever, had 1 or 2 really tiny little thumbnail images, not that impressive. Overall, Google looks at something like that, like there's no meat on the bone, there's no value. Here's all Google cares about, y'all. The only thing Google cares about is, did the person find what they wanted to find when they clicked that link? If the person found it, then Google basically retains that and goes, okay, got it. That was the right search result for that term, and I will submit it again and again and again. If somebody clicks on your link after seeing their search term and seeing you in a search results, clicks on your link, doesn't like what they see, and clicks their back button, Google sees that and goes, ah, crap, got that one wrong. Let's take that one out of the search results and kind of move it down the rank. And ultimately, you end up where we bury dead bodies, which is the page 2 of Google search results, right? We just don't care. It's all buried over there. Nobody ever goes there. So we have to be on that page 1. So let's talk about what we do to our website today to make a huge difference inside of your website. At the end of this, I will also give you a link to a free online course that I have that will give you a free auditing tool, a worksheet that you can then go and kind of use to analyze your website and be certain that you have all of these things in place. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to jump over to this website first. This is my old agency that I used to own and run. I've sold it, but it's still there. It still actually meets every example I want to show with you today. So moving down this page, this is the home page of this website. The very first thing Google sees when it lands here is not this big text right here. It is not even the logo that it sees first. It's actually the link at the top. No, it's even further higher than that. It's this page title living way up here at the very top. This page title is the first thing it reads. And I'll share with you a little bit about that. I'm going to go over here to Google for a second since we're talking about them. And I'm going to do a site search. And here's a fun little experiment y'all can do as well. You can go to Google and type in the word site, which is SITE, colon, right? That's the dot over the dot. So SITE colon, and then put in any domain name that you can think of, whether it's your own or maybe your competitors, and you can click enter, and it's going to only render to you the links that have been indexed on that one website. This is going to give you a snapshot of exactly what every single page on your website looks like to your visitors. So you can come through here very quickly and easily and see exactly what your page title and your descriptions look like. And this is important when you want to optimize these and be certain that your home page doesn't just say home right here. I mean, unless you're literally selling homes, your homepage title should not be the word home. Your homepage title should probably be your key term that you want to rank for. And then moving down, just kind of going through your whole website, you can get an idea of what these pages should be titled. The next thing it will look at, though, is the link. So it's very important that all of your URLs read consistently with keywords in them. So this particular link, as I go further into the website, is for a services landing page for custom WordPress sites. By the way, again, I'll just mention, I no longer work at this agency. I just happen to be the one who built out this website. So I know it's a good example for us today. But you can see up here at the top that the link to this page is WordPress Web Designer San Antonio. If you had an internal link, let's say to a hamburger joint, y'all were restaurant owners and you had a hamburger joint and you had a really great menu page, you wouldn't want that link at the top to just be, page 237. I mean, you've seen that kind of language on a link if you're looking at a big database like an Amazon product or something like that. You want to have very friendly URLs. That means we know what this is by the words inside that link. So let me also pump the brakes for a second and tell y'all, if you go making changes to those right now, you very likely will cause breaks across your website. So have a strategy in place. Please have a strategy in place if you're thinking about making any changes to your links on your website. But it is important that those are user-friendly, keyword appropriate for those landing pages. Another example would be if you are a roofing company and you did residential roofing and commercial roofing, then your link for those services should probably be yourcompany-name.com/residential-roofing or commercial-roofing, right? You don't want it to just be residential because that's too broad. That could be anything residential. You want your keyword inside of there, roofing, residential-roofing. After the logo, it's going to move over here to the actual navigation and go through all of your links. It's going to scrub all of these. What it's trying to do as a robot is it's trying to find repetition. That's why you've probably heard of the black hat trick called keyword stuffing, where we just dump a bunch of keywords on a page. I'll give you a quick example of what not to do when it comes to keyword stuffing. Let's say I ran a retail shop and sold skinny jeans, and I had a landing page for skinny jeans. What you wouldn't want to have on the page is something that sounded like this with some of your text. Are you looking to buy skinny jeans? In our skinny jean department, check out skinny jeans for men, skinny jeans for women, skinny jeans for children, and we have skinny jean sales going on all the time in our skinny jean department. Please check out our skinny jeans today to buy your skinny jeans. That's just a hot mess, right? I know that's a very just kind of overdone example, but what you have to be is intentional with your keywords. And that's what I want to stress with y'all today is be intentional with your keywords. So this website, we certainly wanted to rank high for WordPress websites in San Antonio. So now we're going to be looking at our H1s. This is going to be your header 1 tag is going to have my keyword in it. If you are location driven, your city or your territory should be inside of your H1. If you have a brick and mortar or your service area is a specific part of town or a specific city, include a local search is so important these days. So please include your location inside of your H1. And then moving down the page, you want to be certain to have unique images that are legally allowed to be used for you. So original imagery is some of the best that you can possibly have. If you can shoot a photo, worst case scenario though, or you know, is what you don't want to do is go over to Google and on Google Images, grab an image and throw it on your website. You will get sued so quickly for that. So I'll give you a great resource. Unsplash is a really great royalty-free image library where you can come here and use any of these images. So if you were a roofing company, you know, you could come here and say roofs, and you can get some pretty great pictures. Again, these are totally royalty free. They don't cost you anything. You can download them and move them over to your website and use them for the sake of advertising, right? You cannot resell these. These cannot land on a product box or something like that, but this could be used inside of a brochure that you're giving away, or your digital brochure, which is your website. But what you want to do is name that image appropriately. I don't want this image to be named image 237-final.jpg, right? That gives me no value. Google has no idea what that image is then. So you want to name that image appropriate to what you do, or at least put your company name in that image title. So I'll give you an example. This image right here, I'll copy the image address for a second and we'll take a look at this one. This image, if you can see up here at the top, is named San Antonio WordPress Company.png. When you talk about secret sauce, there it is. That's a little secret sauce right there, where you can start to name your images appropriate to what they are, right? Because this is examples of our work. But you want to name your images appropriate to what they are, associated with your key terms though. The other thing you'll notice is, as I hover over these images, I have some alternate text inside of here. Accessibility is such an important thing today for websites, as we want to be accessible to all people with all disabilities or all capabilities. So we want to be certain that our website can be read by browser readers, anybody struggling with visual impairments issues, anybody needing to have it be read to them, or anything that is a video that needs to have closed captioning. You need to be very aware of who your audience is and serve them in the best way possible. So when you put in an image on your website, an opportunity for a twofold boost is to name your image correctly and put an alt tag behind it. That alt tag, ALT, that alternate tag, is read in browser readers to anybody who needs that assistance. It's also read by Google. Kind of brilliant, huh? So we're going to get a 2-for-1 there, and you're going to get a little boost on some SEO juice. So all of your header tags, like I'm saying, your H1 tag, your H2, your H3, should have that repeated language. You know, here's WordPress web design, here's search engine optimization. All my big text on my page is going to be those big buzzwords that I'm hoping to rank for, right? So what you don't want to do is use your big bulk text on your homepage to just say, why us? That's no value, y'all. There's no value to that. Why does that help you rank? That might help you convert, but there's no SEO juice in that. So any of your big text needs to be your key terms, and that is a signal to Google to pay attention that this is headline language. We're trying to get the attention of people looking for these services. The other thing that Google looks for is called anchor text, so that as somebody's reading through a paragraph on your page, you might have a couple of things clickable so people can easily navigate through your site. That links over to the page. This section is talking about WordPress support. When I click on this language, this key term here, it takes me over to the WordPress support landing page. So that's providing easy navigation. Google loves that type of user experience. People are going to click on those links and follow through. So anchor text is another great, easy, quick little SEO lift on your website. Fresh content is another SEO lift on your website. I'm sure that you've heard people talk about a blog. I'm sure you're like me. I never want to blog. That's a pain in the tush. Like I never remember until it's like 6 months old and there's like cobwebs growing on my website and I don't really care anymore. You know, you always start out with great intention, but how can you get a strategy on your website where you can have something consistent? These are, you know, recent projects that's been done. You know, that's easy to do. Again, if you're a roofing company or a landscape company, you can do your most recent project, your installs. If you are a service provider or a restaurant, you might be able to do customer reviews here or case studies. That's easy to do as well. If you are selling products, sometimes you can highlight products or do an educational tutorial on how to use your products. All of that type of reoccurring content in your website is a signal to Google that you're still in business. Because if they come back to your website here and their robots crawl this whole page, you know, 2,000 words or so, 800 words living on a page, they crawl this whole thing and they come back next week and crawl again and they find the exact same thing week after week after week after week, they think you've kind of just abandoned the content. You're not very much into keeping your customers or your visitors up to date. Now, if your competition is pumping out content, you go over to their website and they've got the latest and greatest blog article living on their homepage. They've given a signal to Google that, hey, we're still in business. We're still relevant. We're talking and bringing something new to our consumers every single week, every single month. Google, reward us because we're relevant. We're current. Google's going to sit up and pay attention to that. Does that make sense? And then you also want a very clear call to action. So you want to be certain that people can easily pick and choose what they're needing help with. And that's going to get them then to click one step further into your website. That then eliminates that bounce click. What you just did right there and giving them an easy click, one click in, just told Google a huge signal that they're watching. They're watching for that one click deeper into your website. Whether they come in initially landing on an internal page, right? And they see this page and they go, okay, I'm in. I think this is great. I'm going to click here. That again, move them one more click further into your website. That gets Google excited and lowers that bounce rate that they're watching consistently to be certain that in their mind, the person who came here, who landed on this page, started to believe in your product, started to trust your brand and wanted to engage more or learn more. They were clicking and moving one step further in, and Google is keeping track of all of that, right? Google is watching how long somebody stays on your website. Google is watching how many clicks they navigate through your website. They're watching if a form is filled out and converting. They're watching if a video is clicked on and watched. All of those are signals to Google to say that people enjoy what they're looking at. This was, in fact, the best option that was presented on those search engine results. And Google is going to look at you and go, got it. Somebody who did a Google search, we'll do an example here, a Google search for WordPress, San Antonio agency. We'll just do that search. You know, and you come down through here, here's Webtegrity, organically living right here. You know, there it is right here. So I've done an organic search for WordPress San Antonio agency. On page 1, Webtegrity exists. I'm going to click on that link. Google has now tracked that user experience. Now we want to move them one click further. Google has now said, wait a second. Somebody just saw that search result, chose them over everybody else, landed on their homepage, and then moved one step further. I'm going to present webtegrity.com every time somebody does a search for WordPress San Antonio agency or whatever search term I use there. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot at one time.
It's great. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. What questions do you have though, Lacey? I mean, if you have questions specifically over anything I covered, I could go a little deeper on it. What are your thoughts?
Oh, of course I do. I always have questions. That's what, if no
Awesome.
one else pipes in, they can be guaranteed that the redhead in the corner is never very quiet for very long. You did mention, so this is a really easy general question. Wow, okay. Hair's out of control. When it comes to fresh content, obviously week after week after week is not what we want to do for the lack of it.
Oh.
So how often do we update our website?
Yeah, great question. That is definitely one of the ones I get pretty often. Here's what's interesting about that. I think that's a matter of understanding your industry and understanding your own brand strategy. How are you approaching your customers? Do they need an educational approach? Do they need an inspirational approach? Do they need a relational approach where maybe you are blogging and you're sharing your journey, and so there's that relationship building? How are you approaching your customers? Is it just this kind of non-emotional shotgun blast of buy from us, we're the best, buy from us? If there's that approach, you're going to struggle to build relationships anyway. So I promise you, people won't be coming back anyway, right? What you need to do is figure out, how does your brand engage with your customers? What are their expectations? One of the ways you might be able to establish that, or at least have a starting guideline, is look at your competitors. How are they positioning the conversation? Another thing to look at and resource for an idea of cadence or what type of content you might use is look at the people who inspire you in your industry. What is their consistent cadence with fresh content? What type of content are they bringing to the table that has gotten you inspired and gotten you engaged? Can you somehow either figure out how to build your own voice in that conversation? Could it be as simple as, I've had some clients say, I will never blog a day in my life because that is like flashbacks to high school, and I just start panicking and I get deep sweats and I think I sound ridiculous and I'm not a good writer, and typos everywhere. I'm not comfortable with that. Then different strategy. Are you comfortable with your Facebook feed because you've figured out a good rhythm over there and you at least get over there once a week? So if you've done that, then figure out how to get your Facebook feed to display on your website. It's not the best bang for your buck when it comes to SEO, but it is that signal still to Google as it comes over and crawls your site that there is something new. And I'm okay with that. I have a lot of clients, some beauty salons that I've worked with, some schools and colleges that I've worked with actually use their Instagram feed on their homepage, put it down at the bottom. A roofing company that I have does it. A wealth management company that I have does it, where they're pretty active in their office at taking fun pictures of their team, taking pictures of happy customers, maybe creating a little meme and giving out a tip of the day. And so they're producing that content over on their Instagram because that's easily digestible. That's a one sentence quick tip, a one sentence copy and paste from a customer view into a meme, and they've created a little picture and they've thrown it over on their Instagram. That data can automatically filter into your website as well. And that's a great signal. But what I would say overall for cadence, if your industry moves lightning fast, you probably are going to need a weekly cadence. As painful as that sounds, y'all. If you're, no offense to anybody who does crocheting, but I think we've done it the same way for a few generations. So I would say that you are probably good with like a once a month type of churn, right? So, and I say that because I've worked with ladies who do quilting and do all sorts of crocheting work. And that's about been their cadence. About once a month, they put out some cool content, a few pictures of their ladies that gather around and do their quilting together. And they kind of do it as a newsletter type of cadence, right? They grab that newsletter, or church does this too. They grab that newsletter and put it together as their blog post and present that as fresh content. It really just depends on your industry, what your bandwidth is, and what you believe your customers need to be inspired or to engage with you.
Awesome. I had a little bit of a visceral reaction when you were talking about header ones and page titles and stuff like that, because I've seen My dog is snoring so loud. If you can hear that, I greatly apologize.
I'm glad you told us what it is though, because I was questioning.
For real. I'm like, is he okay down here? Yeah, he's fine. Snoring, working hard. So I've had business coaches I paid a hefty investment to who are like, oh, have a header like full bodied health can help you. A header that's like, oh, we do, and then bullet points. And I'm listening to this like, that doesn't sound like the best, most efficient use of that header now.
Yeah. So what's interesting about that approach? That works brilliantly for conversion strategy. It's not the SEO lift though that we might need. So I think this is about considering a little bit of both. It's a beautiful dance. It's a partnership that Google requires from us. How do we not only inspire people who land there to connect with our brand, but how do we also give that signal at the same time to Google? So it's a pat your head and rub your tummy type of dance, right? How do we accomplish that? I would say there's a blended way of presenting your why statement inside of those headers. So let's take your example of what was your first example about full body health? What did you say that they were giving you advice to use?
So the header itself was full bodied health can help you, and then bullet points.
Love that because you can help me.
Right.
But now you're making me read your fine print on how you can help me.
Which no one reads anymore.
You know, I want you to tell me, change your life in 30 days. Now your subtext says, using the full body health methods, you can follow us and do right? I want you to give me my pain points first. Change your body in 30 days. Sounds a little bit like that's not my key term. People search for those things. And you might not know that people are searching for those types of search terms. We call those long tail key terms when there are 3 or 4 words all kind of combined together. If you do your research though, and there are places online to find these and to get inspiration, to get excited about them, you can grab those, plug those in. What I would say though is be very intentional to have your keyword inside of your H1 minimally on your page. If you want to get creative then down the page with your H2 and your H3, I'm going to say I'm okay with that, but at least if you can get the key term that you're trying to rank for on that H1, I'm going to give you a green light and say, good job.
Ooh, all right. Then now that I have your email, I'll just be like, look what I did, Kori.
Come on. You know, I have people tweet to me all the time and ask me to go run a quick audit on a page they just created. I'll go do that. A lot of people follow me on my YouTube channel, where I'm giving a lot of advice weekly over there as well. So that was my solution to my blogging woes. When I found out doing this professionally, you know, everybody tells you you've got to have this fresh content. I had that anxiety panic attack as well, thinking there's no way in heck that I'm going to be consistently writing 2,000 words or 800 words, a blog article. Ain't going to happen. Somebody also gave me the feedback that I was very boring and lame in my writing. And I was like, ouch, that cut deep. But what they then told me was, you're totally animated though. If you could figure out how to vlog, you know, get in front of a camera and do a video blog, you would probably gain some attention. And maybe you can get a 2-for-1, use a resource online to transcribe your videos. That you get both. You get the video up top and you get the video transcription down below for the raw text. You get a 2-for-1. And so that's the route I went. About 6 years later now, I've got a YouTube channel with over 45,000 subscribers. And not only has it given me the SEO boost that I need, but it also has brought me a wonderfully extra bit of revenue every month as I run YouTube ads on it. So there's opportunities there, y'all. We just have to get creative together.
Very cool. So I do need to pause. I'm trying to keep my eye on the time. Quick pause, our wise commercial break. If you are in business for 10 days, you have an idea, so you're like negative 10 days, or you've been in business for 10 years, we've got you covered. So if you're looking for one-on-one business coaching, classes, fundamentals, basics, a hotline to ask questions about PPP loans, we've totally got you covered. Carolyn can put links into the chat box and on Facebook as well. So how do we find you now that we're like, oh my God, we're in love with Kori. We need her. We can't work with anyone else. Where do we find?
Well, that's the resource I want to give y'all today too, because I've already created a course. It's a little old, but all of it's so relevant, thankfully. It's a video course where you get to hang out with me for about 30, 45 minutes. I will give you that audit sheet that you're able to work through, all for free. All I ask you to do is give me your email so that we can hang out and stay in connection. So I'll give you a link to that. I'll pull it up really quickly here, but you can visit askkori.com. That's my main website. I'll share it right now on the screen with you. Those of you who are watching still, you can check that out. You can easily come here. I've got all sorts of video tutorials that live inside of here that you can check out. You can learn all sorts of different tips. Here's my free online courses that you can go to. And inside of here is my basics of SEO course. Again, totally for free. You can come here, check this out. It's going to explain to you that this is a beginner course. It really just kind of walks you through it. All you have to do is give your name and email really quickly, and you get instant online access. So if you are inspired to do this at 2 a.m, if you've had a bottle of wine on a Sunday afternoon and you want to sit down and nerd out with me, come on, come hang out.
I love that's pretty cool. If I have a glass or bottle of wine on a Sunday, yeah, that's party time right there.
Nicely done.
Yes, yes. Does anyone have any questions while we're here? And again, throw out there a situation, a header, anything you got that, I mean, Kori is here.
Yeah, however I can help.
So Kori, while people gather their thoughts and give them a minute, do you play all the instruments hanging around?
I forgot that y'all can see all that. I do. Yeah, in a former life, before I did all this, quick story there. I was a professional musician for 10 years. And when my band consistently sucked, I ended up figuring out how to build websites for people. And I thought, you know what, I better just hang up my guitar and do this. And so that was my pivot in life. We used to gig around, and when I didn't sell enough CDs, excuse me, I would ask the venue, can I just fix your website for you? And so I'd make a few $100 that way, and we'd get from gig to gig to gig. And so ultimately I had the aha moment that maybe I'm better at this stuff. But yeah, every once in a while I play those and hang out still.
Okay, so we do have a question so far.
Okay.
So for someone who doesn't have WordPress and who maybe needed to take a simpler route and road and all that, so there's no real plugins. Let's say we're working with Squarespace, which is super simple. Where can they find some of this? Because I know at this point they might be a little confused, like what the hell's a plugin? What are we doing? What is this? Squarespace still has alt tags and all of that good stuff, right?
Yeah, you're spot on. The course I actually sent you to is still so general enough that it will be applicable to any website builder out there. It doesn't have to be WordPress. I'm thankful that y'all asked that question, because I certainly don't want you to think that this is only possible and that you have to somehow rebuild your website over on WordPress. You do not. You can attack all of these things, optimize all these things, strategize all these things inside of any website, whether it be Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, WordPress, Joomla, any of those that exist out there. GoDaddy has a builder, Google has a builder. So you can certainly do this on any free tools as well. The thing to note is this: you need to understand what Google is looking for. That's all you have to understand. If you can understand how to play the game and what their rules are, then you can go figure that out on your website and figure out how to plug those in. For those of you who are looking for next level things, you're probably looking for something like markup schema, and you're really trying to figure out how to go that one step further. You might be saying on this call, I've already done all those things. I'm looking for the next thing. Well, there's always something bigger and better that Google's coming out with. Again, on my website, you're going to find a little bit more advanced stuff there, all for free.
Awesome. I think we've got it. I'm trying to search through. We got some thank yous.
Oh, awesome. Very kind, y'all. Very kind.
Give her a minute real quick.
Yeah, well, as that's coming through, let me share with y'all a couple of resources for you. So anybody looking, I had a client one time who was selling window treatments, and the side of tracks I grew up on, I never knew them as window treatments. I knew them as blinds. That's the side of tracks I grew up on. So
Right.
I never heard the term window treatments. I have no idea what that is. So I would say jump over here to trends, and this is a free tool Google gives us, and you can explore and see what the world is searching. So if we were to do a search term, which is kind of funny sometimes, a lot of times you come on here, Kim Kardashian is trending. Okay. Taylor Swift. There you go. Taylor Swift versus Kim Kardashian. Where are they being? That's hilarious. Let's do a search term though. I'll show you the example I was talking about. Window treatments. I'm going to click search, and you get to see kind of nationwide who's searching for that term and what the interest over time has been for the amount of traffic, right? The other thing you can do then is do a comparison term and say window blinds. Now, obviously, this is going to look drastically different because blinds is kind of that big box store resource. People can buy blinds off of Walmart.com, Home Depot, Amazon. Window treatments is typically a local vendor who is coming in to give you a quote. But what you can do here with this tool, though, is just kind of prove to yourself what people are searching for. So another example would be if you sell USB keys, right? If anybody can still see my screen right now, if you have one of these in your house, what do you call it? Do you call it a memory stick? Do you call it a USB key? Do you call it a jump drive? And then what do your customers call it, right? So USB key, do you call it jump drive? What are the latest terms that are being used? Those are pretty interchangeable. Is it a memory stick, right? That's a good one. Memory stick. Let's see if that one's still trending. Oh, shut up. It outranks a bunch. Look at that. That's fantastic. And then you can kind of drill down to your territory as well and take a look and see, where are people actually searching these terms more? And it's so interesting to find out resources like this. So if you're trying to figure that out, that's a great resource. Another great resource is going to be Moz.com. They have a phenomenal blog area in here to really give you a lot of information when it comes to SEO. This is where I go to learn. So if y'all want to stay up to speed with me, subscribe over here to Moz.
So that trend website, I could easily see that turning into a drinking game and like 3 hours lost on a Saturday night.
Well, you sound like my kind of nerd. I love that. Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to be careful with that one. Set a timer. No, yeah, that's definitely a party trick. You can get lost in there very easily.
Yes, you could. Yes, no doubt.
I think we are all set with questions for now. Kori, I can't thank you enough for sharing your time with us. I greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the opportunity. If anybody wants to reach out to me, you can tweet to me. You can find me on my website. I'd love to help any way I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Have a great one.